Greetings and salutations. My name is Caitlin and welcome. Today's going to be a little bit different. For those of you who are not new to my channel, not in the shop today. In fact, we're going to be talking about this, which is a sword I just completed. Those of you who are new to the shop, this is a video that's a little different from the ones that I normally do. As you can tell from the dress, I am doing show and tell. So this is a sword that I made for the SCA. Stands for Society for Creative Anachronism. And the idea behind this sword is that it's a traveling sword. You win it through a tournament, and once you win that tournament, you get to wear it for a period of time. Because of that, it had some different rules. But it is, the position is called the Defender of the Queen, and the symbol for the Queen is the rose, which is the reason why you see me carving a rose, rosebud, rose leaves, and on the blazon here is a rose. So we're going to start with the blazon. So this right here is the blazon for the Defender of the Queen. You can see the Queen's rose, swords crossed, and that is a belt. All right, now the rings, you see you have a welded ring and a floating ring. Now the floating rings are also welded closed to give them greater strength. They're not going to pull out. You'll break this beforehand. We come up here to the throat protector. Again, touch marked by me, but this is designed to keep this from splitting because this is very, very thin. As we can see, you see how, focus, you see how close those wedges are to the top, okay? So I have to put this there to make sure that this doesn't split out if you wrench it from the wrong direction. All right, now moving on, you can see the leaves on the ring, the carved rosebud keons, and then this is a poplar handle in addition to a poplar scabbard, so that we don't have galvanization issues. And then the hand-carved rose pommel. Now this pommel is a screw pommel, it is not a peen pommel. So this whole mechanism can come off for cleaning should it necessarily need to be. I'm not going to take it apart right now. And of course the back side is sewn all the way down. And there's a bulge here, and that bulge is designed to scrape. So if something scrapes, it's going to be that and not the leather piece here and here, although it is not a lot. Okay, so we've gotten to the top, the bottom, and now we're going to get down to the chape. The chape's probably the hardest part and one of the most important. You can see here, there's a rivet on this chape. It is riveted through. The sword ends probably somewhere around here, but I extended the scabbard beyond so that it maintains integrity, okay? Sorry, sunlight. So it maintains integrity, but the chape is designed so you can place this on the ground and it will still, it won't destroy the end of the scabbard. It also makes the end look really, really nice and pretty, which it wouldn't otherwise. So that's it in all of its glory. Maybe I shouldn't want to do that. So there we go. Get to see my dirty floor. Now that we've talked about all of the different pieces of the sword, we're going to talk about the baldric. Now, a sword by itself is nice, but most people like to wear them. And that's the reason for this dress, is that because in the SCA we dress in period, it is important to wear period clothing when testing out period equipment. So that being said, let's go ahead and grab the pieces. Okay, so let's talk about how to tie this, okay, given the fact that it doesn't have a traditional buckle. Okay, so first thing goes around the body, okay? Now, how I personally wear them, there's multiple ways. Some people like to put it through and pull it behind, but that leaves this big old gap in there. So what I do is I pull it through, and this sits at your natural waist. This is one of the differences between period and modern, is that it sits at your natural waist, which is right where this seam is, okay? And we keep tightening that until it's snug. Now again, this belt is not designed to hold up my pants. This belt is designed to hold the sword. And then you flip it up from behind, all right? I'm gonna step closer, so you flip it up from behind and then put it down through the top, okay? So pull tight here, pull tight up, and then pull tight down. And that's how it looks when it's all done. And if you notice, it covers the hole in the belt buckle, which is the reason why you wear it this way, okay? And the cool thing about this is that it adjusts to the exact size that you need, and you're not stuck with the little holes that a traditional belt has, okay? So advantage. Disadvantage, you have this little flappy piece, but if you wish, you can tuck it up or, you know, put it someplace else. Now, obviously, if this was a belt designed specifically for you, you can make it exactly to the length that you desire. Again, this whole setup, one of the things that differentiates it from historical examples is going to be its adjustability, all right? Now, next steps of this baldric is this piece right here. Now this. All right, so here we are with the pieces up close, and we'll see how they work. All right, let's start down at this end. So we have hooks, traditional hook fashion, hand forged, hand riveted onto there. And we have buckle, forge welded together. I opted to use a traditional buckle on this one. They are used in period, they're just much, much rarer. And the reason for that is the adjustability that's needed for these to be worn by multiple people. All right. The only difference between the backside is the buckle is facing the opposite direction so that they are facing inward. And that's important. So if you're adjusting these, make sure that you keep the one on one side and the one on the other so they both face inward and that the leather is on the correct direction, because the underside is just raw leather. Okay. Now obviously once adjusted, you can slide that in there. Optimally, I should have made these a little bit shorter, but some tall people like to wear them really, really low. So I'm letting that option exist. I can't make them longer once I make them shorter. And coming up here. So this piece, looking at it, you can see that it is forged. And of course there's my maker's mark, but that's going to go on the inside of the belt, so you'll never actually see it, but it's there. And these are also forge welded, or should I say welded together, and hand riveted to exist. So you can't actually take these pieces off. And you do want to be careful of these because they can bind up a little bit easier. So this is probably the most delicate portion. Now it's gonna you can wear it all day long. It'll take the weight, it'll take the hanging, it'll take all of that. But if you twist it, it's not designed to take twisting force. So please don't. This is where the design goes into the historical. Most historical baldricks were designed just like normal historical clothing, and that is to fit the wearer, okay? This is specifically designed for me. This outfit was tailored for me. This baldric was not, because it's designed to be tailored for many, many people. So how it is worn is you start with your belt. Now, because this video is also being made for the future winners of this, you can use your own belt or you can use the one that I provided. All right. So first instructions are going to be for right-handers, but you're going to flip them for left-handers. Okay. So right hand, it's in your right hand, and you slide it in on your right-hand side. Okay. So see how it just connects up on there? And that's what it looks like. It has just two little tabs here. All right. And these swing freely. And it just slides, just clips on just like that. Now on a period example, this would actually be fastened here and it'll be like slid on. But I mean, on the period example, it's a little bit bigger, but it's still designed to slide off like this because you want to be able to take your sword off when you're sitting down or when you go into a crowded room or when you don't need your sword. It's cumbersome. Okay. Now, the sword has rings on it, okay? There's two rings. One floats freely, one's attached, okay? Now, again, if this were designed for a specific person, there'd only be two. At the top one and at the bottom one, and they'd be on opposite sides. So the one in the front is always on the bottom, and the one in the back is always on the top. And the reason for this is how the sword sits. If you don't have that, the sword has a tendency to fall forward and slide out. Now, luckily, this sword's designed so the scabbard is tight enough, it's not going to fall out, but it still can be drawn. Now, unfortunately, to have that tightness means it's not so easy to put back in. But that's okay because your enemy's already dead and it doesn't matter. So, as this is not tailored to me specifically or to any one person specifically, there's a couple things that you need to note that are different from historical examples. Step one, are you right-handed or left-handed? If you're right-handed, this goes on the right-hand side. If you're left-handed, it goes on the left-hand side. We'll cover left-handed in a second. Pay attention to your rings. And on the side, you have two of these, all right? One's for the back and one's for the front. We put the back one on first. Grab my back one. All right, so grab the back one in your offhand. All right, making sure the blazon is out and the seam is towards you. You hook it on the top ring. Now pay attention to how that ring sits. You don't want to twist it. So this is going to sit. So I want to make sure that my twist is correct. Now it should lay flat across your back. Okay. So it lays flat across your back. So now once you have that, it's attached. The next one is really, really easy. So grab the front one, and then we attach it to the bottom one, okay? Like so, all right? And then you're going to slide this forward and back, depending on your preference. And hopefully the back one doesn't fall off like this one just did. All right, and then you're gonna slide this to where it should be. All right, and now what you wanna do is you want to adjust these so it sits at the proper angle. I have already done so. So your top one, your front one, is going to be a little bit tighter than your back one because your back one has to go across your butt and attaches back here. Now, the reason why we use the bottom one on the front is it's what tilts the sword up, okay? I'm going to give you an example. If I were to connect this to the two top ones, so now it's on the two top ones like you'd think it would be, see what the sword does? It's not terribly useful. Now luckily my scabbard is designed so it doesn't fall out, but it still is hard to reach because it's all the way down here. Now here, you can draw it without any difficulty whatsoever. Back on the other hand. And when you're walking around, it sits normally. Now you can adjust the angle so it sits up more like this, and you kind of want it to be, you notice, on the back. I'm gonna switch to a widescreen. And when you're walking around, it sits normally. Now you can adjust the angle so it sits up more like this, and you kind of want it to be, you notice? You'll notice here that when I'm walking, all I have to do is pull this up ever so slightly and it doesn't stick out. That is the idea. You don't want it to stick out like this. You want it to be up a little bit. Even if I let go of it, it's still up. Okay? And that is how you wear it on for right-handed. Now, left-handers, we're gonna switch it around. All right, so now I am a left-handed individual. So again, I hold this so that the ears are facing towards me. Those are the ears, okay? And this one becomes my front and this one becomes my back. All right, and I put it on my left side because I am left-handed, and that means the sword's gonna go on the opposite side, okay? Now, just like the right-handed one, we wanna make sure that the blazon's outward, all right? And so we connect it to the back. Wow, like so. And then, again, you make sure that that's lying flat, and then you grab the front one and you connect it to the bottom, okay? Now, as I just wore this on my right-hand side, the back is now the front and the front is now the back, so this is not correctly adjusted for me, but now what we would do is we would adjust this strap to pull it up a little bit. So I would make the straps tighter, and this strap would be adjusted smaller. And that is how you wear it on your left side to draw from the left. Again, regardless of which way you wear it, you want to make sure that the blazon is on the outside and the seam is towards your body. Okay? And that's the reason for the 4 rings. Okay, now you're wearing your sword and you need to walk someplace and you need to take it off. Well, that's the advantage of this style of baldric, and the reason why it was used quite heavily is because it is easy to remove. Unlike taking off your belt and unsnapping this and pulling it over your head, there's none of that. You lift your sword up to release pressure, you pop the front one off, and then you lift up, and there you go. It is all one area. Your belt is still on, so all of your pouches, anything that you're carrying on your belt, your knife, your utensils, all of that is still there, but your sword can now be set over in the corner and taken care of. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something and how to actually carry it on there. Again, if you are a future owner of this sword, or at least custodian of this sword, then thank you for watching. Thank you for learning how to put it on and take it off and take care of it, and wear it appropriately in a period fashion. If you're interested in the building of this sword, I should have a video out shortly that shows the entire process. It has been a very long process, as I've had to start and stop over the course of years. You heard that right, years. Everything on the sword is hand forged with the exception of the blade. That was donated by the late Master Govanen. The leather work is all done by me. Everything but the blade, pretty much, is done by me. And as the premier defender of the Queen, I hope you, future defenders of the Queen, enjoy wearing the sword. If you'd like to see the build video, please look in the description below. Once it's completed, I'll put it there. And like, subscribe, and share. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will catch you on the flip side.